one of the things that I haven't seen any of the real estate YouTubers talk about is the property taxes. And if you know anything about property taxes in the United States and probably in other parts of the world as well, it lags behind the housing prices. So, you know, some of these peaks that maybe hit early 2022, mid 2022 before interest rates shot up, well, there's going to be a lag on that, and suddenly people's property tax could be higher here in 2023 than it was in 2022 or 2021. And then if they have a bunch of rentals, you know, the situation is even compounded even worse, because a lot of times when it's not your primary residence, you could potentially be paying more taxes. Various states do that different ways, or various different counties do that different ways. And it's one of the things that hasn't been really talked about. I haven't heard really people talking about that, but that's going to be an additional death sentence for a lot of real estate investors that have daisy chained lots and lots and lots and lots of different properties. And then when their occupancy rates go down, people don't renew their leases, and things get worse and worse. And like probably a lot of you guys have been seeing that have been tracking this data, there are so many houses being built in these various different cities and apartments. And there's just going to be so many vacancies, because what ends up happening is when things get tight, you know, family will move back in. You know, people will move back in with family, or people will group up more. That's just kind of the natural thing, and they get in a shared living situation. And if you have that happen by magnitude, essentially, you know, 3 times, you know, you could have half or 2/3 of these properties that would be vacant, looking for buyers. And all this will take 3 or 4 years for it to play out. But, you know, if history repeats itself like it did last time in the Great Recession, which I feel like it's going to be a very kind of similar thing as far as the real estate goes from that aspect. Now, some people aren't going to be able to walk away as easy from their properties as they were previously if various laws change, because, you know, certain states, they have situations where if it was purchase money loans, then people could walk away and they didn't know that debt. But what happened last housing crash was when some of the people walked away from the properties, those banks still were trying to collect on that debt for the shortcoming, because they ended up having to short sell the property or sell it at auction, and they wanted the difference from those previous owners. Now, that could have caused people to have to file for bankruptcy if that was their best bet to get out of it. So various different things happened, and various laws changed, with, you know, various property insurance, mortgage insurance, and stuff like that. And that is getting talked about, is the mortgage insurance and the property insurance, you know, going up, you know, because the prices are higher. And so if they're trying to, you know, insure something that has a higher price tag on it, then all that insurance goes up. So, you know, and then you can figure that the title companies are going to try to swoop in there and, you know, try to raise their rates as well, because they're saying, well, we're dealing with this higher value property. It's $500,000 or it's $1 million, when in reality it's a shack in Compton, California or something. So all these things, it just kind of amplifies. And I was actually talking to a friend in Tucson, sleeper agent Steve McClare, and he mentioned that he feels like another round of inflation is kind of, you know, blowing up the supermarket scene. And I think a lot of what we're seeing here, think about all the floods, maybe they're kind of pricing that in. Think about all the floods out there in California, and you know, a lot of the supply chain and stuff like that potentially still getting disrupted with that. And I guess there's going to be a lot of chickens or something that are going to die at some of these chicken farms out in California. So I don't really expect food prices necessarily to come down, But again, and I've mentioned this in other videos, every time I go pretty much to any of these stores, you're just kind of shell shocked by the price of everything. It could be supplements, you know, it could be, you know, obviously the eggs, that gets talked about a lot because that's always like a gauge. I always gauge, like, you know, with bananas, eggs, milk, other various stuff. I don't necessarily look at the pricing as carefully, but then, you know, here of late, it's, you know, the prices have went so high that it's, you know, it's hard not to notice. And it's just like, what the heck? This is like way out of whack. I was, you know, and you almost forget what the price was previously a couple years ago. So I would say that's a couple of things to watch out for. And one of the things that I haven't mentioned yet, that I saw in a video, which actually really shocked me, was that after the Great Depression, the 1929 crash, and then the Great Depression, Manhattan real estate took 60 years, 60, to recover. So we think, okay, you know, it's probably going to be this 3-4 year time frame, but I'm even seeing some people that maybe are a little bit less sophisticated, and they kind of feel like, well, there's going to be all these good deals here in like mid to late 2023. You know, there could be some deals. There's always things that maybe could arise or something, and maybe it's some kind of niche property with, you know, maybe it's on a lake or you know, something else. There could be some sort of deal or something, but you know, it's going to take a lot longer for this thing to kind of work through the system, you know. And you know, I'm looking more, again, 3, 4, 5 years kind of thing, time frame. Now, if other countries get hit even worse, I don't even know where I'm at, guys. I'm in some like little tweaker town. I honestly don't even know where I'm at. I was not paying attention, and I should have taken a turn. This is crazy. It's like a general store here. Somebody's like living there. I don't know. It's interesting. All these little towns are going to be vacant. So here's another one I just found. All these towns are going to be vacant. You can live very, very cheap. You know, a lot of these houses, they're going to be, you know, go vacant, and then you can get them for $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, $25,000 in the Midwest. And you know, as the birth rates decline and the older generation, you know, passes away, and the remaining younger generation moves to the cities, tries to gravitate to, you know, the metros, then you know, there is potentially an opportunity if you want to live cheap or soak up a bunch of properties. There could be value in that. Depends what you're doing, what you're trying to do. But that is something to keep note. But anyway, what do you guys think about that as far as the premise of, you know, the property taxes shooting up? And have you seen any changes so far, any kind of projections of what the property taxes are going to be for your area? And also, are you seeing it with the insurances, whether that be title insurance, mortgage insurance, and you know, homeowners insurance and stuff? You guys seeing a lot of differences there? So leave a comment below. Please like this video. Follow me on all social media at Brian Phobos, YouTube, Instagram, Steemit, Twitter, Hive, BearShares, Friendster. What else is there? I don't know.